So Boz and I and Janet are about to take a really exciting trip to go speak to the ASPCA conference, or I should say an ASPCA conference in Washington State. And taking Boz with us is a whole different game. So we have to make sure Boz is safe and Boz comes with us, and we have to make sure that we do everything right to bring Boz with us. In order to bring Boz, I'm going to put him down and let him run around a little bit. We got to take some considerations, and some of those considerations are going to be how to safely travel with him, and that's something I want to kind of talk to you about today. And there he is, he's banging the tripod because he's crazy. Boz is 16 years old, and Bozman, he's deaf, and he can't see well, which makes him like me more. Bozman. Okay, we're going to let him just run around a little bit, zip around, and oh, here it comes. So when he comes back, we're going to give him a little kibble treat. I'm going to throw some of these down here, and he'll figure them out because his nose still works. And he's super fun, he's super entertaining, and we just love Bozman. So anyway, you'll see a lot of people travel with their dogs as fake service dogs and all this stuff, but that's not something we're going to do with Bozman. We're going to actually take him on a legitimate plane ride. First things first, make sure your dog has a travel crate. So this is a company called Sturdy Products. This is the crate that we use to travel with Boz, and it's a really, really well-made crate. And I'm going to show you all the features it has, and I'm going to show you how to get your dog to really want to go in the crate first and foremost, because that's the most important part. And just take a little piece of kibble, a little piece of food, and throw it in the crate. Now Boz is super great about being in a crate, so it's a no-brainer for us. But before you ever take that trip, make sure your dog's really happy being in the crate. Spend time way before, because nothing worse than getting on an airplane with a dog and having them flipping out and screaming and crying and being very uncomfortable in the crate. And that's really something you got to think about. It's not as much the barking you want to think about, it's the dog's safety and his emotional and mental well-being when he's in the crate. So you'll see that here, even though Boz is used to it, I'm just kind of showing you an example of what I would do with a dog, and that is just feed him inside the crate. Just throw little pieces of kibble in the crate, and when he's in there, he's super happy because he's getting a reward, he's having fun with it, and he's going to just keep going in that crate. So you're going to, on a plane, you can use a hard crate, but I find it better to use these little soft crates. And this one, like I said, Sturdy Products makes this one. It's somewhat collapsible, so if there's a little less room under the seat, you can collapse it and obviously not crush your dog. And what I like about these crates is you can take them with you, and when your dog is in the hotel room with you, he has a little safe spot, a little safe place to be, and a place that he's familiar with. So also, like I said, before I put him in there, you can even let him sleep in your house in it a little bit during the day or maybe at night, and it'll smell like something comfortable. It'll smell like your house, it'll smell like him or her, could be either one. Your dog may identify as a male or a female, and whichever that is, you'll see that he's going to have a great time inside the crate. Whoopsie daisies. That's a dog training term I coined. Janet actually is trademarking it. So anyway, so he's getting used to being in the crate. He's super comfortable with it. This crate here, I better close this because Boz will just help himself to all this stuff, has a couple of really great features I want to show you. So first of all, like I said, it's really collapsible, which I think is super great on this crate. It has mesh, and there's different options on this, different size you can get. You can get the different textures of the mesh. This is the heavy mesh, which I think is really good, because if your dog's going to crawl out of anything, it's going to be the softer mesh. And this heavy mesh is really nice and durable, so more than likely they're not going to crawl out of that. It has a nice shoulder strap. You're going to see me traveling through the airport holding Boz in that and wearing this over my shoulder, which makes it really comfortable. It's really easy, so you can carry your carry-on bag and this. This crate has a zippered front and a zippered top here, which is really kind of nice. So if you see here on top, this zipper lets Bozman stick his head out. I'm just going to show you how that looks here for a sec. There he goes. Here's his head. That's the Boz's head, and then you can see here. So he could, in theory, here pop his head out while I'm on the flight and say hello to everybody and greet everybody. What you want to kind of be careful of here is that he doesn't come flying all the way out of the crate, because you don't want your dog running around the cabin. Some irresponsible people will do that, but you don't really want to do it, because there's a great danger. It's really, there's a safety issue. Somebody could trip on your dog, could hurt your dog. Your dog could get seriously hurt. And your dog could hurt somebody. If you hit turbulence and the dog was flying through the cabin of the airplane, your dog can get killed and can actually hurt somebody else. So there's a little strap in here that you can attach to your dog's harness. And if you're traveling with a little dog like this, I'd probably put him on a harness, although I don't normally advocate harnesses. That'll keep him from just jumping all the way out. So that's a really nice safety feature. And when you're done, when you want your dog to go back to sleep, I'm going to just zip this back up here. And if I want him to have a really nice dark area in his crate, and the darkness of the crate sometimes is a real cozy factor for your dog, because if they're seeing a lot of stuff, they might get flipped out. This crate here has all these features to really close it up really, really nice. So, and you'll see that it's nice and dark in there now. He's comfortable, he's quiet, and it'll make him feel a lot safer. But again, we've conditioned Boz to be safe in a crate for years. So actually Janet has done it for years, and he really enjoys being in the crate. So that's the way you want to close everything up here and have him safe inside, have him happy inside. Put a little a chew toy in there for him. Make sure it's not something he's going to tear apart and choke on, because you're not going to be able to deal with that. But and I don't really like to feed dogs too much before I travel. That's a really important thing to think about, because he's going to have to relieve himself at some point. And if you're in an airplane, they're not allowed to use the restroom in the airplane. So consider what you're feeding him. Don't sedate your dog before you travel. You're going to want to talk to your veterinarian about that. But it's usually not a good idea to sedate dogs before they travel. Just kind of get them over their anxiety issue before you travel. And if your dog is not apt to travel, don't travel with them. Like, don't put your dog through something like that. That's really stupid. People do that all the time for selfish reasons. But don't travel with a dog that can't travel, because he's going to be barking, he's going to be flipping out. Dogs sometimes pee, or I know one dog blew an anal gland in an airplane, and it was a disaster. They had to actually stop the plane and turn it back because the dog wasn't conditioned to traveling. And that's just stupid things people do. Be fair to your dog. Make sure what you're doing with your dog is good for your dog, and make sure they have a great time during the experience of traveling. So again, we spend a lot of time getting the dog used to the crate, getting him used to being in here, getting him used to enjoying being in there. So feed him inside, have some toys inside, something that they can, that makes them feel comfortable. If it's something that smells like you, like a t-shirt or something like that, I think you're probably a lot better off. Oops, see, I still got the harness hooked onto him. There, the inside harness. And here, Boz, I'm gonna put some treats on the ground here. Oh no, oh my God, Boz is insane. He'll just eat everything. It's just something you want to think about for him. So before you travel with your dog, there's a couple things to consider. First, let me show you the rest of the features of this crate, right? So it has these zippers here on the front. So it's a double zipper, so you can move this anywhere up and down here. And what I dig about this, what's really super cool, is your dog will eventually get their paw in here, and they'll do this. And what that does, it gives them an escape route. And I did not know about that, and Janet taught me that there's this great feature on these zippers, because Janet is so smart and beautiful. She can teach me a lot of things. Not a lot of people teach me things, by the way, and I won't admit it either, but with Janet I do. So this little clip, now you can use any kind of clip, but this comes with it, And what you can do is you put this little clip through both of the openings in the zipper, and the dog can't open it. So protect your dog. It keeps them safe. It can only open a little bit, and it keeps your dog really, really, really safe. I love that feature. I think it's great. The other thing too is here, all these little vented cloth openings can fold down, and these little ingenious Velcro things. Did you know Velcro was invented for NASA for the space travel? A lot of people didn't know that. That's just a little piece of trivia for you. So it folds that down, and when you want to undo that and give your dog that really cozy, dark experience, which I think they feel much safer with, this all Velcros in, and this is still kind of covered here. That's cool. That's all around. That's on all 4 port openings. You got the front, the top 2, and as well as the back one, which I think is really kind of cool. This little pocket back here is great to put a phone in. Sometimes you'll drop a phone in there, you'll forget it's there for at least 6 months or a year. That happened to somebody I know, but we're not going to talk about that today. And you can zip that up. I like to put my travel documents in here because you're going to be taking them out. And let's talk about travel documents. So in this front little compartment, there's the board, which kind of keeps the floor steady. And Janet likes to keep the travel documents in here. So you'll see here, before you travel with your dog, you're going to need to get a travel certification from your vet. So that certification is only good for 30 days, and it's going to depend what state they're going to. And if you're going out of, Boz is peeing. If you're going out of the country, you need an international travel voucher. So check with, if you're going to a different country, check with the consulate for that country. If you're going anywhere within the 50 states, you'll just need to get this from your vet. It's a basic health certificate, stamped, it's signed by your vet, and it talks about when they had their last rabies vaccines and your distemper and parvo. Some cities and some states require that. So you should have that. It's good for 30 days, so don't get it too soon, too far ahead. Get it right around the time when you're going to travel. And that's going to be super important. It's going to have the address where you live, the address of where you're going. I'll take a picture of that and insert it right here so you can watch it and look at it and see what it's all about. And also, it's not a bad idea to get a copy of your dog's rabies certificate with you. It's super important. If something happens, God forbid, you want to have a valid copy of your rabies certificate with you. Also, keep a copy. What I like to do is on the dog's travel certificate here, I like to write their microchip number and what company they're registered with. If it's Home Again or if it's Avid or whoever, make sure you write down what that is. Make sure that the information on the microchip is really current, because some people don't have that current. Make sure your phone number is current. Make sure your dog is wearing a harness or a collar, and make sure on there's your phone number on there. So you put your dog's name, or sometimes I just put reward and I put my phone number on it. It's always going to be my cell phone. I don't have a home phone, but it's a number that they can get me at 24/7. So God forbid something happens, I've got that with me. So take your travel documents, put them in an envelope, make sure they're valid. The other thing I would do with these travel documents is I take a picture of it with my phone and I have an extra copy. So that's super critical. If you lose this, you can just go anywhere and print out another copy. If you lose this, you don't have a copy, you got to call your vet, you got to get it faxed, you got to do all that stuff. Pain in the neck. So again, Janet and I will have to remember that I put these here because I think this is a really super easy space for them to be. They're right there. I don't have to go underneath the dog. I don't have to really bother the dog to get to them. Another great feature of this, and we're bouncing back and forth between features of the crate and the actual travel documents, and this is the last feature I'm going to really show you. You know, another thing too is when you're going in the car, like let's say you get somewhere, you're getting to your Uber or you get into a taxi, you can put this on the seat next to you, and instead of using the strap part, put the handles up and put your seatbelt through here, right? You don't want to travel with your dog in the front seat. That's super dangerous. The reason it's dangerous is not because it's dangerous your dog's going to interfere with you, but the airbag. If the airbag goes off on that front seat and the weight of this is triggering that airbag, you're going to have a problem. Some of the newer airbags will turn off with less than, I think it's 60 pounds or something like that, but it's still a much, much safer idea to have, see, Basil just watched to get it in the crate, to have this in the back seat with you. So that's the way I would put this. I'd put this in the back seat on one of the seats, and I'll sit on the other one. Here, this little pad is removable. So if your dog has a little potty accident or anything, you can take this out, you can wash this, machine wash this and dry it. And the other thing you can do with this too is when you get to your hotel, it's a little place for your dog to be. They can go on here, it can be their little bed, you can put it on the bed with you if you're, if you're in a hotel, or you can just have it on the floor with you. Oh, there's a good boy, that's a good place, Boz. Hey, Boz man. He's deaf, he doesn't hear. but he can smell. So we're gonna put the food on his place, and he's gonna get his little place treats and all that. So that's the Sturdy bag by Sturdy Products. I think it's great. I really like it. Janet's used it for years. I trust her opinion on it. Once I found it, I really liked it. I've told people about these over and over again for a while when people ask about traveling with their dogs. This is the right way to do it. A lot of people will take their dogs and they'll say it's a service dog, a fake service dog, put a fake service dog vest on it. I'm gonna do another video about that. I have a lot of problems with it. Again, if your dog is really great, yeah, do I think the airline should change their policy and let people travel with their dogs? Yeah, I think it'd be really awesome, but it's not the law yet. People are still breaking the law by saying their dogs are service dogs, and they're not. It's a problem. It's a big problem for other dogs, and we'll talk about that. I'll address that in the other video. But anyway, so let's go on our trip with Boz. Let's head out. Come on, Boz man. Come here, Boz man. Come here, Boz man. Boz has been all over the world. Boz is a world traveler. And he's named after Boswell, and Boswell was a great traveler and a companion, and Boswell is a great traveler and a great companion, right? What was Boswell's last name, Janet?
James Boswell.
Oh, sorry, it was James Boswell, and he was the traveling companion of who? Of Samuel Johnson. So Janet is a history buff. She's actually super smart and stuff like that. I know nothing. I know dogs. I'm good with dogs, and that's about it. But anyway, so James Boswell is who Boswell was named after, and he's a great companion, he's a great friend, and he's just lovely, and he's been all over the world, and now we're going to go to Washington State. Not that big of a thing for Boz man. He's going to accompany us. Okay, come on, let's go, Boz.